Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another community AMA for Rainy Studios and obviously for our flagship title, Rainy the Lord's Light. My name is Marty, also known as Alcatraz. I'm the lead designer at Rainy Studios. Um, and yeah, if everyone else would like to introduce themselves.
Sure. Cheers, Marty. Good morning, everyone, from Sydney, where it's starting to get a bit colder. My name is Chris, also known as Artkin. I'm one of the co-founders of Rainy, for those who don't know me. And I will pass it off to Drasnibar.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody. Drasniba, just a community person helping out with the AMAs, answering questions or asking questions, so the guys can focus on giving you the answers. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's been a very busy couple of weeks over here at Rainy Studios. Obviously, the big announcement that went live this morning is our partnership with Super Oracles. So you can it's linked on Twitter, and I've shared the link around through most of our socials. Super offer some really awesome sort of back end technologies built on top of the blockchain that we're going to be leveraging quite aggressively for all of our projects moving forward. Um, so yeah, and then yeah, obviously we've had a good working relationship with Supra now for a while. Big shout out to Vinny, who we met in person over at GDC. I think Chris, I think you met at ETH Denver as well, I believe.
Yeah, correct. I guess we first crossed paths when I was invited to speak on a panel at the Super Oracles sponsored event in East Denver. And then we caught up after that and just kept the conversation rolling.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely very cool tech there that we're looking forward to using. If you actually go back a couple of AMAs ago, we actually used their what's called their VRF solution to do the lucky door prizes for the $10,000 tournament that was sponsored by Avalanche. Um, Speaking of Avalanche, obviously, this week is the AVAC Summit over in Barcelona. Rainy Studios will have two team members over there for the summit, being Mindspheres, obviously the other co-founder, and Sammy, one of the developers, will be over there as well. So if you are if you happen to be in Barcelona or you happen to be at the AVAC Summit, please obviously stop by, say hi to the team. They'll actually be doing a 7 hour demo of the game on Friday Barcelona time, which will be really cool. And they'll actually be showing off the new patch, which will be going live early tomorrow morning Sydney time, so about 24 hours from now. So it won't be live for the tournament that's running the next Blue Mint sponsored tournament, but the new patch should go live just after that. And we actually have that loaded up here, ready to go to give everyone a bit of a sneak peek of some of the cool things they'll be seeing in that patch there as well. Think that's all the big. It's been a big week. Think that's all the big stuff. Chris, have I missed anything there?
No, I think that's it from when was our last AMA? We
I
had
think
a missed one or two though.
it was a
Yeah.
fortnight ago.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've mostly just been focusing on getting this patch finalized and ready because this is going to be a big one. Obviously, we don't like to mess with the meta right before big tournaments so that people have time to properly prepare. And so the last big patch we did was before that $10,000 Avalanche sponsored tournament. This one we're waiting intentionally until after the next little Blue Mint one to get ready. But yeah, making sure that it's ready to showcase all the cool new art and everything at the Avalanche Summit in Barcelona.
And just with that as well, if you are obviously if you enjoy playing the Lords of Light, yeah, definitely make sure you keep an eye on the Blue Mint website. They've been running several tournaments every week for RTLOL with a variety of prizes, both for winners as well as lucky door prizes. This week in particular, we've actually added some additional lucky door prizes into the mix for them. So you've obviously got AVAX for first and second place. AVAX is a lucky door prize, but for all four of this week's tournaments, there'll also be a crypto exchange NFT going out as lucky door prizes as well. And I believe there's only I think 8 of them out at the moment. So yeah, even though it will eventually have a full circulation of 600, a relatively rare. I mean that's technically rarer than the Satoshi Stacker NFT. So yeah, very cool little card there. those cards will be probably live, not this patch coming out tomorrow, but will be they'll be able to be played in game from the following patch. They're in testing and development at the moment. And yeah, in particular, the crypto exchange card. We're doing something a little spicy with that one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the players respond to that and how it affects the game.
Just while you're on that, one of the questions from Nemesaur was about the remaining amount of promotion cards. How do they get distributed in the future, I suppose? Or do they just get given out with things, or what happens if there's some remaining?
Yeah, so our goal for those is obviously they will eventually all get given out to players in one way or another. We're trying to come up with some cool ways to actually do that. They may be used as rewards in the game once we go fully live. So potentially, the first number of players to complete a battle pass, or tournament prizes or lucky door prizes. We'll be using them for those. We're also looking at potentially doing promotional boosters or promotional packs, I should say, where we'll actually, in the same way that we do packs for, say, Seven Deadly Sins, or for the upcoming set 2 or set 3, we might do sets or packs of promo cards. If we were to do those, they wouldn't just be sold like normal packs are. They wouldn't be listed for ETH, BNB, or AVAX. They would definitely be something we'd want to be doing as a incentive or a reward for either Rainy holders or just for people who are engaged in our community. But yeah,
Nice.
there's a few ways we're playing around with that at the moment. But yeah, at the end of the day, one of the reasons why we do announce the additions for all of our cards is obviously so that everyone knows how many there will be in circulation at some point in time. And like I said, that crypto exchange card is an addition of 600 as a rare. But yeah, we'll definitely be getting them out eventually, but we're trying to do it in ways that, as I said, adds value to Rainy holders and adds value to people who are engaged in the Rainiverse, in our ecosystem.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Sorry to interrupt there.
No problems at all. I mean, it's probably a good segue into any questions we might have this week.
There was a bunch of questions, I suppose, in the Telegram, just sort of scrolling through all that sort of stuff. I can't remember whether this has been done, but just from Lothank, just asked, when will a snapshot be taken of the Rainy holders LP providers for the X-Photon airdrop? Has that already been done, or no, not really?
The X-Photon airdrop. Yeah, so we have not yet done the Rainy Holder LP
Okay, that's cool.
snapshot. Yeah, that'll be done in the lead up to the full launch. So probably in the next couple of months, we're going to be finalizing all that stuff, and we'll announce it ahead of time. Yeah.
Sure. Kishan Singh has asked, if the market conditions don't get better, will full launch get extended again, or are we just sticking to the schedule?
I think at this stage, we want to get the full launch done pretty soon, one way or another. I mean, even if market conditions aren't supportive and it takes us a little bit of time to get traction, it's just good to have the full final game out there and available, and ready to be downloaded and played through the Epic Game Store. That will help our marketing push post full launch. So I don't think we're looking to extend it significantly. We might spill over into July, but yeah, it's not like we're going to be doing a multi-month extension. It's definitely going to be around the middle of this year that we do the full game launch. We're still aiming for late June, but yeah, as I said, it might end up landing in July at this stage instead. But I don't think it'll be much later than that, no matter what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If
Sweet.
if there are any changes to the schedule that we're sort of working towards at the moment, it could also be that we need to, because we're obviously syncing with Epic to make sure that we can line up our launch compared to all the other games they have on their storefront. You jokingly we always make the joke, you never want to be the other game that launches the same day as Fortnite launches. So yeah, if we do need to move slightly back or forth around that just to avoid any large game launches on Epic specifically, we may end up doing that. And yeah, it's always good to keep in mind that when we're talking about the launch, in some ways, this is the culmination of a several year journey for the team to bring the game to life. In other ways, this is day one of the journey. One of the cool, exciting things when you are talking about what we call a live ops game, so a game that is always being updated and has people actively engaged with it, is that this is the start of what we're building towards. This is where we start, really being able to, work with the community and really just create that awesome experience that we all want to play. So yeah, very exciting times.
Excellent. There's a bunch of questions about from Nemesaur that were in the Telegram there about the card rental system. I mean, you guys have spoken about that obviously in the past. That we'll find out more and things as game launches and stuff like that. But is there any information you can give on that that's specific, or should we just wait?
Yeah, so we've got a draft plan in place for a pretty novel way for people to utilize their NFTs, both in as a means of earning some photon tokens and to allow other people to use their cards. We haven't finalized that yet, so once we've got it all ready, we'll announce it formally. We just don't want to jump the gun if things change and have people upset that the messaging has been mixed. But we're pretty confident we've got a really cool idea that I don't think we've really seen implemented anywhere else before. So yeah, as soon as we finalize that, we'll post something up probably in a medium and people can analyze and give feedback. Just at this stage, we don't really have details that we can share.
Okay, cool, sweet, thank you. I think you mentioned this before, but in the future tournaments, are all cards unlocked for a tournament? And just during normal sort of play, you have to play with the cards that you own?
There's most likely going to be a mix of tournaments that we do. Some will be basically like probably the common way of doing it. Same as any tradition. If I go play a Magic the Gathering tournament, I need to actually physically own the cards that I want to play with. So I would say most of our regular tournaments, you'll need to have the cards like unlocked in your account to build the deck and play. For specific tournaments, we may do ones where, because we've got the ability to basically go in and unlock every single card. We use it like obviously for testing and stuff like that, and it's what's turned on at the moment in the client. If we were going to do say like a large scale tournament, so we're talking like like the Raini World Championships, maybe that sort of level, we wouldn't want the winner of that event to be determined based on if they happen to own or not own a specific card. So yeah, something like that, we would most likely set it up so that any card throughout the game can be used. The other really good example of where we would use a feature like that is if, say, for example, we wanted to run like a special promotion with maybe some streamers and influencers to give them like a first look at the game, have them get involved and sort of play each other and stuff like that. In terms of where we would get the most value out of having them come in, it's probably not going to be for them to have to grind it out to unlock cards or have to go buy everything to use them. It's better off they would have access to everything so they can jump in, play with the most fun decks, and sort of really get an idea of what the game is about. So we've got the ability there as well for specific on a per account basis to basically just make everything available to be used. Obviously worth noting when we're talking about potential rewards for playing or for renting and staking and stuff like that, that any games you play where the account has been set up to have access to everything wouldn't be eligible for any of those sort of rewards. Obviously it would just be to have access to them for specific tournaments or events. Or we might even choose maybe one weekend we just go, hey, we're going to have like just a free-for-all, every card's unlocked, go nuts. Give everyone a chance to experience all the cards they may not actually own yet.
Okay, excellent. There are just Nemesaur was asking when the next big tournament is, and would that be the Chubbyverse one? That was potentially scheduled for this month.
Likely at the end of this month is what we're on track to. We had a chat to one of our partners last week, I think it was, Marty. Yep. And yeah, we've got a tentative date set, which we're working towards. I would say, yeah, at this point, it's looking likely to be the last weekend of May. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things we need to have line up to make that work. But yeah, we're obviously trying everything we can to make that happen. So
okay, cool. Nemesaur is asking how are the player numbers developing. How are you finding with stats and things?
Yeah, without going into specific numbers, I'm not even logged into our dashboard at the moment. Yeah, numbers for a open beta game are quite solid. So we look at not only just the total number of players coming in, but we also look at what we call retention data. So we're looking at what we call day 1, day 7, day 30 figures, being how many players who download and play the game for the first time are still around after 1 day, 7 days, 30 days. They're the numbers that generally we pay more attention to, because at the end of the day, pure download or pure player numbers are what we refer to as a vanity metric. We could pay 1 million people, to go play the game, and then hey, look, we've got 1 million players. But we care more about the quality of player that we get into our ecosystem. So we care, we don't just want a player play the game once and leave and never come back. We want them to keep playing, after 7 days, after 30 days, stuff like that. And yeah, things that we're doing, such as these tournaments that we're running now with Bloomint, having regular games, every couple of days, definitely do some really great things to help prop up our engagement numbers. And obviously, when we do go fully live and we turn on all of the stuff that we're building in the background at the moment, such as building our battle passes, leaderboards, bigger and bigger tournaments and stuff like that. All of those things sort of all come together to really help drive those sort of engagement numbers.
Nice. Just a question from the YouTube here, just from Misen. Will you ever do a 0 gem cost spells or minions? I noticed there are only 0 cost for season so far.
Yeah, it's a cool question. Maybe would be the answer to that. There's nothing stopping us from doing so. It's just, yeah, up to this point in time, we've only done it that way. One of the things I know that I'm experimenting around with in set 3 is cards that have a 1 rainbow cost. So as opposed to something which is completely free, you still have to pay a colored gem to play it, but you can put it in any deck because it can be paid for with any colored gem. So looking at that as a way of potentially doing some interesting cards there too. But yeah.
I think the interesting implication for 0 cost cards is that they can be used as a source of gem without the downside of actually requiring another card of the same color to be staked to play them. So that's why we're intentionally a little bit conservative with creating too many cards that are 0 cost colored cards. So I think more design space, what we're looking at for 0 cost spells and minions and stuff, are cards that can get generated by other cards that do have a cost. In those cases, then absolutely, but otherwise, yeah, we're just intentionally trying to think, because we are committed to the Eternal format, we have to think very long term about making sure the game stays stable, even with all the sets we've got planned for the future. And that's where we just don't want to be too generous with the free cards, given that they can also double as a source of colored gem.
Okay, cool. Just running down that list, I suppose. One from June's Neba. What software do the devs use to create model the 3D models and character animations in Raini, Lords of Light?
So I mean, probably a good question to get Hitbox back on the AMA, because he can probably answer it better than I can. I know a lot of the stuff we do is Blender. So Blender is just a free open source 3D modeling software. And then, yeah, we import that stuff over into Unity. The animation stuff will be a mixture of Blender animations and Unity animations. It generally depends on how we need to be able to manipulate the animation. So Blender is great at doing animations, obviously. So if you want to do just like a character walking or something like that, you do it just in Blender. Doing the animation itself in Unity takes a bit more work, but it means that the animation can change based on triggers from within the game itself. So for example, if you wanted to do like maybe for the Elon animation, we wanted it to fire the rocket at specific points based on something that's happening in the game. Doing that part of the animation in Unity makes much more sense. So yeah, but yeah, if theoretically you're asking this question because you're interested in learning like 3D animation and stuff like that, and learning how to make stuff like what we do in RTLOL, Blender and Unity would be the two sort of main tools that you'd want to take a look at.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Misen, just asking, would the team ever consider using staked Raini or Photon as a governance token so the team can put out proposals to vote on?
So that's an interesting question. I think that we're definitely open to, on like an ad hoc basis for certain key decisions, getting input from the Rainy community, and potentially having some input from the relative size of the holdings. The difficulty here, again, SEC has made it very clear about some of the requirements for something being deemed a security, and the two things they look at are like the making it a clear expectation of financial return, like profit sharing or something. The second is voting rights. So we'd have to be very careful about making sure we are legally compliant. Beyond that, we're happy to get as much. We really appreciate all the input of the Rainy community. So having a lot of informal votes, is definitely something we could lean into a lot more heavily. I know we have done some stuff like that in the past with some polls on Telegram, and things like the card idea contest, where we got a lot of the great ideas for set 2. So definitely open to doing some more stuff like that, but it'd probably be in more of an informal ad hoc manner than a structural offering for the token on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, cool. You definitely have to avoid the SEC, that's for sure. Ash is asking, will there be an Australian spider card one day? Interestingly, when we did that card contest at the very beginning, one of my ideas, possibly others as well, was that I think in Adelaide, at certain times of the year, it rains spiders and spider webs. It's just like a phenomenon that happens in Australia, but Ash is obviously a fan of spiders.
Yeah, wow. Definitely open to that. We can lean into. Here we go. We got
Yes.
some alpha
Done.
happening.
Next question. Yeah,
Okay.
at some point, sure.
Rain of
But
spiders.
yeah. We same answer I'd give to any card design. We would only do it if it's going to add to the experience that players have with the game. But yeah, we obviously are happy to put something in that's funny and no one takes seriously. And probably actually, no, if we're making like a Australian spider card, that has to be the most powerful card ever released. It just has to be. Like it just destroys every quantum rug. Quantum rug can't be played for the next 24 hours. Like all that sort of cool stuff.
Or if it's the raining spider one, you could like an entire web could just cover the enemy's minions.
Your opponent cannot play minions for the rest of the game. It's just web locked, right?
Or spells, or seasons, or draw cards, or yeah. We'll make it fun.
All right, sweet. RO, is it coming in? Basically, is an open world coming for Rainy in the future?
So I mean, our main priority now over the next couple of months is just getting the TCG in as good a place as possible. Our intention beyond that is to launch the next title, which will be connected to the trading card game. So there'll be some cross utility of some of the NFTs. It'll be like the same, I guess, lore and world that we're using, and you can jump between the two games pretty seamlessly. That's our focal point. Once we've got the trading card game to a good state, we have done like a good chunk of the development towards that second title. But as I said in a previous AMA, sorry, we really shifted the focus of all of our developers onto the trading card game just for this push to full launch. So getting some developers back on that after the full launch goes through is our next priority.
Just going down the line there, George, when Binance or when SEX, I suppose, Central Exchange.
When SEX, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Shout out to one of our developers, Bryce, for his date this weekend. Hope it goes well.
Good luck, Bryce.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a lot of centralized exchanges that have reached out to us. Some of them have made pretty compelling offers to list our token. Obviously, we go through periods where we have pretty high volume, and our sustained interest is higher than most crypto projects over this bear market. But yeah, as we've said from the beginning, we are quite selective. So I would say the centralized exchange listing, we're probably looking at around the time of full launch if we end up proceeding there. It might be a little bit afterwards, but we just want to get as much traction as possible, because then that can leveraged into better terms or better exchanges to be listed on. And we've said from day one, we don't want to waste our time with kind of like second or third tier exchanges. So yeah, that's kind of like the plan for the centralized exchange side of the equation.
Yep, fantastic. George is just mentioning as well, and I mean, I sort of, I don't know if it's just me, but I definitely have issues with the website, either speed or just ability to load things. But just saying, Rainy desperately needs a website update. Any news when it'll be up to date? The website needs a remodeling. Just any
It's
thoughts
an
on the website?
yeah, it's an interesting question. We've had for the last couple of months a developer working on an RTLOL focused website, which we will be launching before the full launch, like in the next month or two. That's mostly done now. We've just got a few final tweaks. But the RTLOL website will basically just be focused on the game and be super accessible. So it's designed to try to be compelling to someone who has never heard of the game before, just to get them in and trying the game for free through the Epic Game Store. That the intention there is that the RTLOL website will run in parallel with Raini.io and they'll link to each other. So Rainy will be the website for all of the Web3 items and for the bigger picture, like all the other titles that Rainy Studios will be developing. And RTLOL will just be super focused on trying to make as big an impression as possible to newcomers to the game and get them engaging with the game and trying it out. So yeah, that should be probably this month or next at the latest. We'll be launching the RTLOL website. To coincide with that, we'll do a bit of an update to the Rainy website so that they kind of make sense in existence with each other and in reference to each other.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Ash is asking, is the Overworld game tied to the Chroma leak game we saw? Has there actually been a Chroma leak or just the picture?
Yeah, there's been a few bits and pieces there. I think Super
Good stuff.
Oracles, for anyone who missed the announcement of our official partnership with Super Oracles that went out like today or yesterday, they were kind of giving some more teasing towards that title. Yeah, but basically the second game we'll be working on, working title is that Chroma one that we've been hinting, and it does tie in with, like, if you think of the trading card game within the Rainiverse as like a really focused, like small snapshot of the world, the Chroma game is going to be like bigger picture stuff happening outside of the card battles. Yeah.
Very nice. Sounds exciting. Couple of questions back because we run out just there, but on the Telegram, who is Exola in the partnership column?
Yeah, I can probably take that one. Exola is a company that we've been chatting to, and may end up doing some work with at some point in the future. They provide back-end services to games. In particular, they do a bunch of stuff around in-app purchases and fiat processing. So they basically let someone, swipe their credit card and buy things within the game. One of the benefits of using a platform like Exola, similar to if we were using Epic for this, is they're what we refer to as a platform agnostic solution. So their one product will work across Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, all those sort of things. So yeah, we've been chatting to them. They've got some pretty cool stuff that we're looking at potentially using. They're also rolling out a bunch of features on the NFT side of things as well. So yeah, they're like I said, I've worked with Exola before. They're a really great group of people. But yeah, there may or may not be some announcements there at some point in the future.
Excellent. So on the partnership side of things, that was Kishan asked that previous question, but Kiwi has asked when Layer Zero partnership announcement and any details for what the partnership entails.
Yeah, good timing. We actually have a meeting between our developers and a lot of the Layer Zero guys tomorrow morning, so in about 22 hours or so. But yeah, we've been speaking to Primo, who is one of the founders of Layer Zero, for I'd say like well over a year now. He's actually invested in the project, and so now we're just at the point of all the ways that we can work together. The main benefit of utilizing Layer Zero's offering from Raini's perspective, that they make it really easy to I guess, do cross-chain bridges and potentially offer an omni-chain solution where, our NFTs could be traded across like any chain you like. So at the moment, we're getting a lot of positive feedback about how cheap gas fees are on Avalanche. So we are really happy to be dropping all our promo cards there and then doing everything like that. But obviously there are some instances where you might want to bridge an NFT, like if there's greater liquidity in the marketplace on Ethereum or Polygon or something like that. We just want to give our community as many options as possible to do whatever they want with their NFTs. Layer Zero is one of the keys to enabling us to do that. That's kind of where the Layer Zero side comes in. But again, we're going to have to keep you posted on the announcements since one of the big meetings is happening tomorrow. So yeah.
All right, excellent. Good luck with that. Nemesaur is just asking, when can we expect the next balance patch? And he also wants to highlight that the overall balancing is amazing.
I mean, next balance patch is approximately 22 and a half hours away. So basically our team is just all hands on deck testing. So generally speaking, what happens, like in the lead up to any patch that the community sees, we usually have that patch ready to go hopefully a week beforehand, but usually at least a couple of days beforehand. So like I deployed that new patch last night for our internal testing. And then the team basically just all hands on deck. We all basically do everything we can to try and break that build. It's also a really good chance for us to just have a bit of a, not so much downtime, but have a really cool like team bonding sort of exercise as well. We all just sort of jump in the calls together and do everything we can to break the game. But yeah, they're testing that next patch literally as we speak. And if you'd all like, once we get through all the questions today, if we've got a bit of time, might be able to quickly show off some of the stuff that you'll be seeing tomorrow in that patch.
All right, that's the end of the questions. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, cool.
There's only a couple more. That one's not. When the promo cards get integrated into the game? When's that happen with that balance patch?
Not tomorrow, but the next patch after that.
Okay.
All the promo cards will be there basically. That's gonna, so both this patch and that next patch are significant patches, for reasons that you both know and don't know about at this stage.
Okay. That was a question from Nemesaur. He asked about 11 questions in the Telegram. His last question, I'll just win $1, and also we need a Peppy the Frog card.
I mean, they're tied together, right? Once we get the Peppy card, then the dollar comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because who wouldn't want to have a token with 300 million market cap but only 5 million liquidity? That sounds like a great time.
Yes, indeed, scary stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't scream scam or going to zero at all. Anyway, I mean, not financial advice. Do your own research. Yada yada yada.
Yeah. You mentioned Marty in the Telegram. I think maybe you're going to possibly go through some touch on the points that you were going to go over with the Sharknadoes guys, who did a fairly poor job of interviewing you guys back then.
Yeah. So for anyone who may have missed it, I mean, you didn't miss much. We were on an episode of Shark Tank over on Solana. Solana. That's a whole other discussion there. Had a lot of interesting stuff to chat through that we wanted to basically mention. Unfortunately, they decided that it would be more fun to have a philosophical discussion around gaming studios having tokens. Cool, it's their show, but if people are interested, I can at least go through some of the stuff that we were going to mention on that. I mean, we wrote it all. We may as well actually go through it at least. We're talking about how a game is scheduled for release Q2 on Epic. How we don't consider ourselves building a Web3 game. We're building a game. Our game focuses on the fun and enjoyment of what we're actually doing, more than just being a glorified front end to a banking application. Some of the stuff that's been happening recently, Ava Labs or Avalanche obviously heavily supporting us. We were, at their booth at GDC. We're going to be at their summits later on this week. They sponsored the $10,000 tournament. We've been chatting with them about subnets and stuff like that. So more on the technical infrastructure side of things, what we're doing for actual launch. Obviously, we've got a very strong working relationship with Campai Pandas and Ice Bags. We hold a tournament with them. And we've obviously announced that we're going to be building some mini games for their ecosystem. We've been fully vetted and approved to publish on the Epic Game Store. One of the things I'll touch on in that actually. So Epic have recently opened up self-publishing. I wanted to clarify, we are not a self-publishing studio on Epic. We are a approved publishing partner on Epic. We've gone through the same processes, the same approvals that EA or Bethesda would have to go through. So yeah, important sort of key point of difference there with what we're doing with Epic as opposed to some of the self-publishing stuff. Yeah, we were going to mention stuff about Layer Zero, but obviously that's happening tomorrow. What else? Yeah, the thing I know I've mentioned previously on AMAs, how it's literally the perfect time in human history. There's never been a better time to launch a digital trading card game. All of our competitors, and as I said, when I say competitors, I'm referring specifically to Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like the big OGs in the space, are having issues at the moment. So it's a great time to sort of get in there and provide a new offering for players. But yeah, like I said, I might even type this up into more of a, maybe it's like a medium post sort of thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've been getting a lot of questions around as well, just in terms of like marketing and exposure. Obviously, we don't want to be, I guess, doing too much marketing before we've got the engagement and retention mechanisms in the game, which we've been working on as a top priority lately. But we do have partnerships lined up with, we've been speaking a whole bunch to IndieGG. We've been speaking, who are focused on India. We've been speaking a whole bunch to Morpheus, who are focused on Southeast Asia. And then we have the established partnership with Ready Player DAO, including Ali Straza, which is more, mainstream Western world. So we've got a lot of contacts and partnerships basically waiting in the wings, ready to deploy. But I think it's just really important to time that correctly so that you get the maximum return on investment. Like Marty was saying earlier, we don't just want to be getting a whole bunch of people downloading the game, playing it once to collect some random bounty and then logging out and never logging back in again. We want people who are going to be sticking around and, on the journey with us for the long haul and adding value to the whole community. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at in that respect, which we're going to announce on the Shark Tank thing as well. Yeah, and obviously we have the really close relationship with Leonardo, which Mindspheres is one of the co-founders of. So we have a huge amount of preferential treatment there in terms of direct line of communication to all the developers to, make sure that our service offering is working, that we can have input on them developing the features that we'd find most useful. We get early access and unlimited access to all of the tools, and the opportunity to showcase Raini Studios games as examples of all the stuff you can do with Leonardo, which is pretty cool. So just a whole bunch of stuff we were going to run through last week, didn't get the chance to. Yeah, such is life.
I mean, it's like the working relationship we have with Leonardo has been a game changer. Obviously, it allows us to create game assets and prototypes and cards significantly quicker than we ever could before. We almost have like a sister company relationship. So, I know some of their I've been working with one of their designers to help out with some of the website stuff that we're obviously working through. Obviously, because we are going to be one of the projects featured by Leonardo, we've got access to their community. They just recently passed, can't remember the name of who they passed, but they're now one of the top 10 Discord communities in the world.
Yeah, they just broke
800,000.
800K Discord users, 800,000.
Just looking at it now, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. Isn't that insane growth?
They're
in such a short time?
rapidly approaching 1 million Discord members.
You must be so busy these days, poor thing.
Yeah, shout out to Ayu. A lot of work there. But you look at like some of the names too that they've passed. Apex Legends, is it pronounced Sui, the blockchain? Rocket League, TikTok, the English language apparently has a Discord server. I never knew that. Axie Infinity. So yeah, officially bigger than Axie. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go like discord.com/servers. You can see the list of everyone, and yeah, there's a lot of big names that have been passed there. And again, Leo obviously are working very hard in the same way that we are to not just build a large community, but to build an engaged, active community. So yeah, when the time comes, if we were to do some co-marketing efforts there, there'd be a very highly engaged community to interact with.
Fantastic. George is just asking, is it him or staking LPs for unicorns a bit overrated? It hasn't gotten me much lately, especially because there are whales out there with 50,000 plus unicorns.
I think we've got a couple of big opportunities for unicorns coming up. One is the Arthron NFT drop that has been delayed a bunch of times, but we've got everything we need to do that. The second bigger one is the second core set drop, where it'll be done a bit differently to the mini set, and there'll be a lot more ways to spend unicorns. So yeah, within the next 2 months, you should have a lot of opportunities to spend the unicorns on some stuff that yeah, aren't as readily available to people who are just staking direct Rainy and collecting rainbows.
Beautiful. Sounds good. Guys, that's all the actual questions that I can see in the various areas there. But did you want to show something about the next balance or cards?
Yeah, I can show off a few little bits and pieces.
Fantastic.
Can't actually show it off in a proper build, so you're gonna have to unfortunately look at it. One of the ways that we look at it while we're working on it, so within Unity itself, which is what this looks like here. Yeah, if we jump into the deck editor, this should look a little different to what you'd see if you jumped into the deck editor there at the moment.
Yeah.
So probably one of the big change. I mean, yeah. Oh, hang on, let me get this off screen. I mean, yeah, Draz, how's that? Like, this is I think the first time you've seen this as well.
I've never seen it. Yeah, that looks fantastic. Pretty
Yeah,
nice descriptions and a bit of new card art there, obviously.
yeah. There's a few cards that we wanted to go through and do a bit of a pass on. So as I scroll through there, you might notice some cards looking a little different to what you've seen before. Actually, yeah. Actually, let me make it easier for you if I just type in Light Infusion here.
Nice.
Obviously, the big change here now is that all the cards have their text on the card itself, which, yeah, it makes a world of difference for accessibility for players who may not be fully aware of what different cards do. I know myself, I'm not making the mistake between airdrop and centaur as often anymore, which is nice. Thinking I'm playing a minion and just dropping a turn 3 airdrop and wondering why I go on to lose the game from there.
Excuses.
I build games, so I'm not great at playing them. So yeah, it works well. There's a few new keywords that you'll notice we've added into the game. Transcendent being one of them. So transcendent, basically, you'll see it on Aurora, and you'll see it on. Is it gratitude? It's gratitude, isn't it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically
till the
just
end of the turn there.
Yeah, basically just a keyword to show you if there's a card a spell, sorry, specifically, it's going to do something beyond when you play it. And you'll actually now see a little transcendent icon next to the player profiles for both players. So it's now super easy to know if a player has played an Aurora or has any other like ongoing effect affecting the board. So really nice change there, just to make things a bit cleaner. Banish proof is another keyword we've added. Just any card that used to have cannot be banished now has banish proof, just as a way to try and clean it up a little bit. And yeah, obviously Chad Rainey looking really good there with all of its abilities. What else? What other colors got? I'm trying to think what other colors got.
So like we got the light infusion, like a lot of the base cards we reworked. So energy blast is different for all the colors. Snow leopard, new card art. SBF is now in an orange jumpsuit.
I like the
Um,
snow leopard. That looks cool. What's it? Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Snow Leopard looks amazing. Yeah,
we did Tree
again,
Mage. Yeah,
yep, SBF in his little outfit there.
Oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, Tree Mage was the other one. Got a bit of love. Where is
Does
he?
did I
Over here
see
now.
before meme coin mania has changed to Elon?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah,
swapped. It just seems more appropriate. He's
Yeah.
the meme coin god. Bezos doesn't
Yeah.
really do much in the space,
Sure. That sounds good. Yeah, there he
and
is.
he's happy instead of terrified because he loves Doge. So
Exactly.
yeah, just lots of little tweaks like that. Yes, a bunch of Easter eggs. If you go over the card art, you'll see some improvements.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, some things have changed.
there's a few
Um,
cards that got some minor balance pass stuff in this patch. Hang on, I'm just trying to bring up my list here. So things like problem with screen sharing is I kept clicking on the video. It's like that's not going to work. So Officer got a slight buff to a 2020. Tank got a buff now. It gives HP to each other minion, not just non-automatons.
Ooh, nice.
So not a change that probably makes a huge difference, but a little buff to Officer and General as well.
I
It's now a
think
30/20.
a lot of the Seven Deadly Sins cards had their costs tweaked. As the new edition, I think there's less need for balancing the cards that we've been playtesting for a long time. But when you introduce like a whole bunch new cards, it usually takes a number of patches to get them to the point where all the cards are at the right point. So yeah, you'll see a bunch of the Seven Deadly Sins cards mostly had some gem cost reductions to make them more viable. Some of the mechanic changes as well. Yeah, but that it'll all be in the patch notes in the next couple of days. But look forward to seeing you guys go through it all.
The other new keyword was unique, which is chastity. So yeah, a unique card, whenever you play it, destroys all other cards in play with the same name. So yeah, I wanted to make that into a keyword because we're probably going to use that in the future on some other cards. Um, but yeah, and yeah, Seven Deadly Sins. That's one that hasn't had any gameplay changes in this particular patch, but quite possibly will in the next patch, I would say. We've got some things we want to do around that, just making it a bit easier to play and a little bit more impactful when you do play it as well. But
Nice.
yeah, so if we have a quick look, if I just jump out into a practice, yeah, I know it doesn't. So I can't jump into a multiplayer game because no one else is on this patch at the moment, so I won't find any games. But yeah, so you now obviously get that in hand. Just makes it so much easier just at a glance to see what the cards are and sort of know what you want to do. Obviously all that's the same. Oop, I need to. And then yeah, obviously when you do play a card, it will still just go back to its normal card there. Although a slight update to the actual card frame as well. So cards look a little bit different on the actual board. But yeah, looking pretty good.
Where do you get that sort of ability? You just type in a hack there and smash the opponent
Yeah,
with no gems. Fantastic.
Yeah.
this is
Oh
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
where
Like a
our
prize.
devs aren't allowed to play in the official tournaments. Yeah.
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 Like this is why I keep telling everyone that gluttony is overpowered. Because I mean, can't everyone drop an Elon, a Turtle Warrior, and a Gluttony on turn one? Like, what's wrong with this?
Exactly.
So,
Got to have some
yeah,
benefits as the
that's just a
creators of
little
the game. That
yeah
looks
little
great.
tool
That
we have for
that graphic.
yeah. So actually, I don't think we've actually shown this off properly. But yeah, we got a couple of tools built in, so we can just basically add cards. So let's give ourselves a Rainy Gone.
Oh Jesus! I ended with that.
Makes testing a lot faster, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're trying to do something like oh like there's a bug when you play your third Elon of the game or something, like it's so much easier when I can just go like add card to hand 0 Elon and then just do it again. Yeah,
Ultimate power.
this looks fair, right? Like if I
Yeah.
just
Very fair. Jeez.
Actually, I can't win with this actually because I won't have enough space to play them all. Or maybe there's a bug where like some of the animations don't queue up properly if you play multiple Elons in a row and stuff.
Yeah.
Which can happen now with that Seven Deadly
Envy.
Sins card. Envy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be a legit board state.
Right.
Very hard to
Yeah.
pull off, but yeah, it's theoretically possible.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Let me turn that off. Yeah, that's all the questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys. That's everything question-wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So,
Straz.
yeah.
Thanks everyone for the questions. Yeah.
You'll have that new patch out, assuming all goes well. Should be out next 24 hours or so. And yeah, just a final shout out if you happen to be in Barcelona, or I guess Western Europe, and want to go to the AVAC Summit. Yeah, we'll be showing off the game there on Friday from 11 till 6, I believe. So cool. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll catch you back here next week for our next community AMA.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Catch you all.